Oh, right, what is up guys, my name is AJ Plays. A little bit of a quicker video today. I've made you, I guess the next video is coming a little bit later than I anticipated, but something came in today, and I am super excited that I finally have one. Let me just get this out. Oh my god, that is significantly. Anyway, so here we go. Right. So, if you've watched some of my older videos, I can't remember how old this particular one is in the collection, but I've had this for a while. Folks, it is the N-Strike Rayven. Now, ever since I got this guy, by the way, sat on a chair, it's a different kind of angle kind of thing, more casual. Let me know if you like it, because I feel a lot more comfortable than standing up and kind of trying to finesse everything. But anyway, back to the Rayven. So if you guys remember when I got this, I was ecstatic because I found a Rayven. You know, it's cheap. If you don't know the legacy of the Rayven, this is the N-Strike Rayven, which was the first. At least I believe it was the first flywheel electric blaster. It didn't come with a 6-rounder originally. I think that was just an eBay listing thing. It did come with a 18-round Firefly magazine, which had a separate battery pack on the magazine itself, and it kind of lit up a couple of LEDs in the top, and it came with the dark clouds, all that kind of thing. This is the N-Strike version. Performance at the time was about the same as the rest of N-Strike overall, but in comparison to like the Hailfire and basically modern Nerf, the N-Strike Raven's performance is not great. It's significantly, the FPS is significantly lower. I believe N-Strike Ravens were firing at around 50 FPS, whereas the Elite Par, and like the bare minimum that people will accept nowadays, is about 70. So nowadays, this thing isn't so great. And since that day, I have been hunting, and I do mean hunting, eBay, just continuously looking, trying to find this kind of thing. And I kept finding N-Strike Ravens, and I'm like, no, I don't want the N-Strike one, I want the Elite one. Then the one that came out later with the slightly better performance and all that kind of thing. Not that I don't appreciate that at the time I found this thing, which was still fairly rare. N-Strike Ravens are fairly rare nowadays, whether they're more common than Elite ones. Because people used to mod their strives and essentially gut this whole thing, and then from the grip of the strife back, they would just use a Rayven shell and then call it the Straven. Now, because of that, these are rare. Like the N-Strike versions, the original and like the N-Strike versions of the Rayven are rare. So I managed to snag this pretty cheap, I believe, a few years back, I think. I can't remember. God, my memory is terrible nowadays. Anyway, so this is the N-Strike version. As you can see, it says N-Strike on there. Funnily enough, Hasbro, painted on both sides. Can we get back to that, please? I mean, this was 2011. This boy. This was I don't know. There were 3 Ravens after this, and they were all called Rayven Fires. They were all re-releases, same shell, different paint job, better internals because they were in the Elite line at this point. And so this N-Strike Green Rayven is the OG Rayven. This is, if you see it and it's just got N-Strike on it, note that the performance on this will be lower. I don't know if that has something to do with the flywheel setup or anything like that. I know the motors are slower. They are significantly slower. So that 20 FPS drop kind of thing is crazy to think about. But I'm genuinely glad I found this thing. I will be keeping this, I think. I might put it on a shelf or something, just as like a, hey, this is the first like rare or big one that I wanted in the collection that I found, because I think this was, at the time, arguably one of my my more anticipated purchases for when it came in. So, you know, it's one of those, it's kind of like when I got the Rhino Fire, and that's kind of been on a pedestal ever since, as like a, hey, I actually got this thing, what the fuck? But the Rayven, this baby, the N-Strike Rayven, is the OG version of that for this channel. And I fully intend on keeping this thing. I'm going to take the batteries out, take the darts out of the magazine, and just leave it like this, because this to me is amazing. The fact that I found this, like, what, nearly a decade later or something, like, I don't know. But, you know, to me at the time, this thing was my magnum opus. Before the Rhino Fire, before the Titan, before, like, the fucking, I don't know what else at this point. Oh, the Havoc Fire as well, yeah, that was a big one. Trying to find one of them was a pain in the ass. But, actually, the Stampede comes pretty close to that as well. But, you know, again, this boy right here is Zach J Plays is original, holy shit, I have this kind of thing. And before, again, like I said, I'm going to show you the performance quick and then I'm going to move on. So, now that didn't look too bad and that didn't sound too bad, but in comparison to like the Strife and all that kind of thing, this isn't as good nowadays. As I said, there was 4 versions of the Rayven. The OG Rayven, they had a Stinger version, which was yellow and had like the black striping across. Not as cool, still quite rare. And then we had the kind of elite blue. Actually, I've got my Hailfire here. So imagine this kind of color scheme on this, and that's what the OG Elite Rayven was like, the OG Elite Rayven Fire. So this in elite blue with the striping on both sides, because they used to paint both sides of the gun back then. And then the final version, which I think is the most recent one, the other Elite Rayven Fire. I found this thing for an absolute steal. I am so fucking happy that I found this. So, yeah. Mine came with a 12 rounder, which I haven't actually tested yet, so I don't know if it's still good or not. There weren't any darts in it. In fact, no, I didn't even leave the batteries in there. So this thing is in very good nick. But I have the 4th and final variation, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is one of the last revisions of the Rayven Fire, and I am so fucking happy that I finally have this thing. I I never thought I would get my hands on this Rayven Fire, and I am so glad I did. In fact, I was so excited when this thing actually came in that I haven't even like shot a full mag out of it yet. I'm just really I'm so hyped to have this in my room, in my collection. So you know, we've got a 12 rounder fully loaded, so let's just, oh, that smells so much better already. Let's just dump. Oh, one more thing as well. Motor brakes was something that got introduced in the elite version. But this is my new just happy thing. I genuinely can't believe that I have my hands on this. It took a hell of a lot of hunting to actually get my hands on this. In fact, it took me going through about 3 or 4 biddings that I either didn't bother because it was for a bundle that happened to have a Rayven in it, or you know, the price just got too high. But 5 bidding wars later, there was a seller on eBay that just outright said, yeah, you can, that just outright buy it now, kind of thing. And I'm so glad I did, because I now have 2 Ravens. Mantelpiece, actual use. This thing, I am so glad. I say it again. I am so glad that I found this thing. It feels just insane. I mean, I can't. Oof. Like, okay, so hear the motor difference. So this is okay. I'll just. Oh my god, it really does not like having mags in it. So this is the OG Rayven. Doesn't sound too happy, but you know. And then slight flywheels, but because they're not moving as quick, they're not as bothered. And then, oh, here we go. And also, again, the motor brakes. You gotta love the motor brakes. I believe the flywheel cage might actually be a slightly higher crush. I'm not sure. No, I'm not seeing much of a difference. So, okay, hold on. I don't want to damage this. So, yeah, just a quick little one for you guys. I genuinely couldn't contain my excitement that I got this. Next video up is going to be either this month or next month, probably next month, just to give me some time to actually, you know, buy some more stuff. But yeah, just this one video, because I got a Rayven Fire, and I am so fucking happy. I am genuinely happy that I have this. This gorgeous, just piece of history. And yeah, that's it. This video is a bit longer than I expected it to be, but you know, I have a habit of rambling and not being able to make a coherent sentence for longer than about 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm just gonna end this one here. I will see you guys next month for the next kind of I don't know, eBay purchases. I don't actually have a title for the series yet. I don't know. Is it a series? Is this a series? I don't fucking know. Either way, next big video is coming out probably next month. Mid next month maybe. I don't know. I'll see what happens, I guess. And yeah. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, which I highly doubt because there's nothing really interesting in it, leave a like, comment, subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so that you do not miss my next uploads. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. So goodbye, guys. Okay, so this is being edited in or cut in, combined, or whatever. A few days later, I kind of just wanted to get this done, so that, you know, when it came to the next lot, I didn't have to then go back and, you know, I just wanted to get it done within the same month kind of thing. So yeah, so that Rayven was, I think, as I said in the first, I'm gonna call it the first video because I'm just the ending of that one isn't gonna make sense because I do my outro and all that other shit. But this is the continuation. I just thought, fuck it, you know, I'll plaster these two together. Different shirt, different layout, different everything. Still on the chair. But, you know, I just thought, like, instead of uploading the singular Rayven thing, I thought I might as well combine these four into it as well. These are, again, another ammo type. Guys, I got my hands on Vortex. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. This is a Vortex disc. I got my hands on Vortex. I got my hands on 4 for the moment. So just to start things off, we're going to go from the smallest to the biggest. So yeah, if obviously you saw the Rayven part first, I actually had these at the same time. I was just so ecstatic about the Rayven coming in and like finally having the Rayven Fire, like the better Rayven, just from a collector's standpoint. I mean, I genuinely, like, I still have it. I have taken the batteries out and the magazine is empty because I'm keeping this for historical purposes. Like I said in the Rayven section, like, there's no batteries. So this is currently sitting next to my Titan, which you can see there. It's currently sat in front of it, but I digress. We're getting away from the actual like thing of this video, which is the vortex, which is the Vortex disc. So this little boy, which is small for the Vortex range, this is classed as a single shot pistol. It's got a tray. It's got a tray. Three of these are springers, and one of them is a electric. So standards of operations on this one, you know, you pull it back, you put the disc in, you flip the double-sided switch, you fire, and then if a disc gets jammed, you've got a kind of a jam release thing there. Prime is basically the same as any other Nerf, but this does use a torsion spring system. So instead of just like a straight spring, there's an arm in here that a spiraled spring connects to, and then it just and fucking smacks this bitch out. And then so you push this on the back, tilt it forward, and the disc plops out. My one problem with Vortex is that there are so many mechanical locks in these things, it is insane. Funnily enough, ammo condition doesn't really matter because I have some very beat up discs and they work fine. The beat up discs definitely, even beat up discs work fine. So, you know, and overall, anyway, I'm rambling. I've had caffeine. Anyway, so this little guy is the Proton. This is a single shot breech load that I have to put a disc in it. I have to put a disc in it to fire it. For fuck's sake. You see, this is my one problem with Vortex. You can't dry fire anything. You can't dry fire these at all. They hate being dry fired. I think that's because so the torsion spring doesn't snap anything, which makes absolute sense. But at the same time, it is really annoying. But anyway, moving back, this is the Proton. I mean, there's not a lot to say about this. This is kind of like the Jolt of the Vortex line. I know there's a shittier one called, I think it's like the Rip Strike or something ridiculous. The Zombie Strike line, it's like half the size of this, but it is so much worse. So yeah, I mean, this is the smallest one I've got, and this is probably the smallest one I'm gonna get. Mostly because Vortex didn't last long. For some reason. Vortex was in between End Strike, so like my Rayven End Strike, not Elite. It was between End Strike and Elite. So, you know, End Strike ended, or was very close to ending, and they were like, we need something to, you know, something different. And they thought, fuck it, let's shoot discs. And Vortex is a thing. So, yeah, I mean, there isn't much to say about the Proton. Like I said, it's the Jolt of the line. Well, it's more of the Fire Strike of the line. There's direct pullback kind of thing, but you get what I mean. It's the grip on these things, though. The grip on Vortex is absolutely amazing. Like, look at the size of that grip, and it just melds perfectly in the trigger. Oh, excuse me. The trigger is in such a comfortable spot. Like, that is amazing. The grips on these are huge, which I've noticed is consistent with all of them, which is really good. So, you know, if you can find a Proton in the wild, you're gonna have to find some discs, which is gonna be expensive because even the third parties don't produce discs anymore. So the discs themselves might be slightly expensive. I know there's eBay listings everywhere for like big bundles for cheap because they're the glow in the dark ones that nobody really wants. Because you know not everybody wants glow in the dark ammunition, Hasbro, but you know, I don't mind going to that disc, so I'm just gonna box stock on them, and then if I lose them or whatever, I'm just gonna fucking, you know, use a few of the spare ones. But if you can find this guy for cheap, I know protons are fairly cheap. Make sure you get some discs, either with it or first, because you don't want to leave this. You don't want to leave any of the springers primed, because the spring will get weaker over time. It's the same. It's the same thing as a regular Nerf springer. You know, you leave a spring primed for too long, the spring gets weaker, it loses power, performance is shit, all that kind of thing. That's why I hate it when they make their mag-fed ones, where you have to prime it first to put the mag in, because that's completely counter to storing them. I fucking hate it when they do that. Like with the long shot and all that kind of thing, like with the sniper rifles. They make it so that you have to prime it first, then put the mag in, and then prime it forward, and then you have to, and you're just like, you're storing it with the less dart, you know. And obviously there is one that I don't think I will ever be able to get around, which is the Fortnite Heavy SR, which if I can get my hands on, I fucking will, because that thing apparently is bigger than the Centurion. And the Centurion big, and I like big stuff. I mean, I have a Rhino fire and a fucking Havoc fire in the same room, alongside the X-Shot Insanity, like the Rage fire, and then the Titan. And I have a Nemesis now, for fuck's sake. Like, space is not something I'm particularly stressed about, because I want the dumb shit. You guys know, I have stated it so many times, I love the dumb shit, and Hasbro has made some dumb shit, and I want to get my hands on them. But anyway, enough of the rambling. Proton, it good. Does it shoot hard? No. Can it shoot far? Yes, because discs float. They can also ricochet off walls, which I find really fucking cool. You can just bounce it around the corner and get somebody behind cover. I've heard that in Nerf Wars, vortex isn't really used anymore, mostly because... I think it's mostly because of the rarity of the ammunition itself, and plus the fact you know you're not getting that shit back. Because people kind of... I don't know, people tend to pretend it's their ammunition or something when they go and clean it up. Especially if it's something rare like a vortex disc or something like that. But, you know, I don't know. Vortex is a weird series, and I love it. Fuck me, I can't speak today. Oh god, I am so rambly. Anyway, if you can get your hands on a Proton and some discs, this is good. Performance isn't insane, but it's kind of the feel. You know, you don't buy a long strike to hit high performance and hit shots from a long distance. You buy a long strike because you want to feel like a sniper. You know, you don't buy a Centurion for accuracy, because Mega Darts aren't accurate, and the Centurion itself isn't accurate, but you want to feel like a sniper. This is... I can't specifically give a feel to the use of this, but it's the experience of pulling it back, dropping a disc in, and then just flicking it, firing it. I gotta put another fucking disc in it now. Oh my god. We're 12. How many minutes in are we? 13, and I've only just finished the first one. Fucking hell. Either way, Vortex Proton, worth it? I say so. Can you find it for cheap? More than likely. Just buy some discs and, you know, check if it's primed. You know, like, pull the handle back, put a disc in, try and fire it. If the prime... one thing, if you get these from like eBay or something, and you can tell if they've primed it before they've sent it out, because the prime will be light. Like, it will be ridiculously light. Like, there's no prime on that because it's primed. Oh my god, I've got to put a disc through it again. So, like, look, this is primed already. That's not how it's a lot stiffer. The prime is a little bit stiffer. So if you do get these from eBay, just double check that when you pull it out of the box. But overall, Proton, good. He's good. Jesus. And now moving on to the Vigilon, which is top prime. Can you see that switch? That switch there. Mirrored on the other side. Watch this. You're not ready for this. Are you ready? Do you think you're ready? You're not ready. Oh shit. You can't make that up, can you? Fuck's sake. So yeah, this is this is a 5-shot internal mag pistol with a trigger that likes to stick. So this is big for 5 shots. This is a bit this is a big fella for just 5 shots, but excuse me while I reach for a disc. This is a big boy for 5 shots, I'll admit. But it is chonky. Like, it is chonky. So basics of operation: pull that back, spring return. If you get a jam, then you pull this thing back and it kind of launches the disc out. Again, can't dry fire it, like, it's primed. I can't dry fire. So you push the lever, you put the 5 in, you push the side back up, and you just, oh, hello, mechanical problem here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is a 5-shot. So this thing doesn't have slam fire, which I don't know how they'd make that work with a torsion spring, but you know, it's got a tack rail, it's got a fork iron on the back. It hasn't got a front post, which is kind of weird. But again, like with the grip, man, the grip is huge, and it's got these motherfucking beautiful finger troils. And that is really satisfying. The finger troils on this thing are just amazing. They're gorgeous. Like, Nerf, when it comes to the ergonomics of Vortex, Nerf didn't fuck around. So yeah, this is basically just an internal 5-shot version of this, which is like really cool. I just love the opening side, because it just pops open, and then you can kind of lock the follower down to get the discs in there easier, and then just pops that back up. The actual, like, the weighting is a little bit off just because of the sheer size and mass up the front, but you know, it's something you get used to and you sight in pretty quick. Performance is basically the same. Again, Vortex does not shoot hard, but it flies far because it's a flat disc that just through the air. It is cool. I do believe Vigilons go for slightly more, which doesn't surprise me considering the change of mass. Like, this is grip loop to grip loop here, and it's a big boy. But you know, overall, I think this thing is just I fucking love that side opening. Like, it's great. It's a solid mechanism, you know. It's just bam, and it pops out. Overall, though, It's nice, it's chunky. I do believe this is also classified as a pistol within Vortex, which is fucking weird, because this is a pistol, and so is this. Like, they're two very different sizes, but they have two very different purposes. Anyway, moving on. So, Vigilon, if you can find it, again, grab some discs with that. Yeah, I can hear the spring moving. Anyway, so if you can find this for cheap, grab some discs and you're gonna have a good time. And now, moving on, because Vortex had magazines. Vortex had magazines. They had a 10 rounder and they had a 20 rounder. And I believe they had a 10 round glow as well. And outside of internal mags, which I think hit 35, 40. The 20 was the biggest you could get. So yeah, I mean, I gotta practice. I'm just going to take the stock off. This stock, by the way, the actual, like, shoulder plate is huge. Like, the actual the touch point for this thing is massive. Like, look at that. That's huge. It does make the length of pull of stuff a little bit too big for me personally, but, you know. I don't have this stock on this normally. I use the ultra focus stock because it's a little bit smaller and it kind of fits with the nature of the whole thing. But I just wanted to show you this as well because this Praxis stock is fucking amazing. Like, minus the fact that it's a skeleton stock, so it does have a lot of jiggle, but moving on. Prices. So this is a pump action, magazine fed disc shooter. Which, by the way, was intentionally made to drop the disc, to shoot the mag out. There's a post in here. There's a post in the magwell that interacts with this little tab in here, which has a spring behind it, so that when you pull the mag release, which is this, which is the same on both sides, it just drops. It mag drops. It mag drops. That is amazing. So overall comfort, this stock on this thing makes it big, but like it's comfortable. Fuck, I overdid it. But yeah, so this has the same locks. So obviously you saw me prime it, and I can't fire it. Can't prime it again either. This is annoying. So I'm gonna have to lean over here, guys. Sorry. Grab a disc, put the mag in, and then you chamber the disc, and then you fire, and then boom! So, ergonomics. Grip is big. Once again, the grip is massive. The pump grip, though, is tiny. Very tiny. And it's also designed so that the front, where you'd want your thumb to go, interfaces with the design of the blaster. So you've kind of got to, like, cup it, almost. And then, you know, you pump, you ride, you you shoot the disc. All of these have had a tack rail on the top. I've just realised I forgot to mention that. The magwell on this thing, the magazines are designed to go in a specific way, so you get the thick end near the grip, and then you push it in. At least you can. Alright, I'm just gonna have to lean over here. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I primed it. And you can one hand, you can one hand shoot, but you can't one hand prime. I love that. So cool. Yeah. So this does work with the 10 rounds and the 20 rounders. 20 rounders I will show you in a second with the final boy. But overall, I think the Praxis is a primary class sized thing. Obviously, if you go into a nerf war, you probably wouldn't want to take any vortex unless you were just like, hey, I got a vortex, check it out, you know. But if you're using this, if you're using vortex in a nerf war, you have got some serious balls, because there is a very low chance you are getting all of your discs back. But you know, that's dependent on the people you nerf with. If you trust everybody that you nerf with, then you know that, I don't know. Anyway, overall, the operation on this thing is smooth. It feels really good to use. The overall ergonomics is really nice. The prime on this thing is fairly light, mostly because it's got so much travel to just go with a spring. Even though there's the end cap on there, I don't know why that's there, because that usually means there's a spring in there. I don't know. Either way, this guy is very nice. It's solid. Funnily enough, you don't actually want to grip the front how I'm gripping it right now, because a disc will shoot straight into your fingers. Now, it's not painful at all. It's not painful. It's just annoying as all sin. So you kind of have to like move your thumb elsewhere. But overall, if you can find a Praxis for cheap with a magazine, the stock isn't as big a thing. It's just a complete look. But you have to find at least a 10 round magazine or a 20. If you can find a 20, like, that's good. 20s are surprisingly good in Vortex, but then you have to try and find 20 discs. Whereas, I mean, you can single shot this. Like, you can turn the disc upside down, drop it in, prime it. I don't know why you'd want to do that. That would be a very complicated single shot. But, you know, if you can find it cheap, and it comes with a magazine, and you get the disc separate, you know, it's a good deal most of the time. From the ones that I've seen on eBay, Praxises are usually fairly cheap. Mostly because they're the smaller brother of the Pyragon, I believe, which is a 40 round drum, like a drum for discs, a disc drum, and it has slam fire and a different front grip. It's got more of a kind of like an angled thumb hole grip for the prime, but it's basically the same thing but bigger. But I don't know. I mean, if you can find any of these for cheap and you can find good discs, they're worth it. Personally, again, it doesn't shoot hard. It's not meant to. The discs float. But I feel like this is the first one you could if you had the guts or you had a lot of Vortex discs, you could probably use this in a nerf war. I personally wouldn't take the Vigilon or the Proton into a nerf war, mostly because of the smaller shot capacity and all that kind of thing, and it being, you know, single disc. They did have a shotgun, the Diatron, I believe, which is impossible to find, and it is a fucking nightmare. Some of the stuff that the Americans got, we didn't, or we did in very small quantities. So the Vortex Diatron is a pain in the ass to find, but it is a 2-disc shotgun. It shoots 2 discs. I want to get my hands on the Diatron, but I feel like I would have to at least go to the US to try and find a Goodwill or something, because apparently a lot of people have some serious luck at Goodwill. So if I ever go over to the States, I'll probably try and find a Goodwill and just like try and get some good stuff and bring it back. I don't know. But yeah, so is Praxis is good. If you can find it with a magazine and some discs, go for it. It's good. And now, the final one is the one and only flywheeler Vortex ever got. This C battery destroying unit with a 20 round magazine that I got with a 20 round magazine is the Vortex Nitron. Now, how the fuck does a flywheeler work if you're shooting discs? There's only one wheel that spins. This is the powered wheel. This is a loose wheel. It's very heavy, very back heavy, because this thing takes 6 C-cell batteries. And where do they go? There. Now, no. That's behind the grip, which makes this thing really fucking back heavy. It's the same problem with the Stampede. They didn't really figure out that fuck to put the batteries, and I don't care, quite frankly. Magazine release, same as the Praxis, except this doesn't have this doesn't have the post to like shoot the mags out. It does also have storage in the back. It has storage like right next to your armpit, so you know you're never gonna forget where the disc is, because it cuts in, pulls out, you drop it in. Sounds happy. You rev it up and you fire. This is a full auto disc shooter. It's a full auto disc shooter. It's got a safety on the top, so should you have a jam, it allows you to, so all the way forward is you can fire, then back is an electronic cutoff, and it opens up something on the inside so that you can, if you have a jam, you can you know, tip it forward and pour it out. The ergonomics on this thing are insane. The length of pull on this stop is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the foregrip as well. Bear in mind, this is not a end strike rail foregrip. This is not a Picatinny rail foregrip. This is a built-in foregrip, and it is better than any other Picatinny rail or fucking end strike grip I have ever used in my life. This foregrip is amazing. It is the perfect size for me to just really get a good grip so that I can just properly lead it around. Yes, you can one hand, you could technically dual wield these. Oh God, could you imagine dual wielding protons, the noise that would come from that. Anyway, nitrons even. I love this thing. This is the definition of a gimmick that works. I don't get this whole back pump kind of thing. Quite frankly, I don't think I could care less. This thing, the fire rate is slow, as you just saw. The rate of fire is very slow. That is because, and I will say it again, these are discs. They float. Which means you shoot in this. By the time the first disc you've shot has landed, by the time your first disc has landed, this thing is already shooting the second. So this thing is amazing for cover fire, because you can just send a disc and then send another disc and then send another disc and then send another disc, and it is very difficult to it's difficult for me to articulate just how good and how solid for what this is shooting the rate of fire is, because the rate of fire is just slow enough to where you could very easily get somebody that's like, oh, okay, I've sent a couple of discs, you know, and then bam, you get them with the next one. Because these discs, when they come from this thing, float for a long time. They don't fly like a dart, you know. You know how darts fly? They go and then they drop. These don't have disc drop, as far as I'm aware. They kind of just slowly glide down. Once they've hit the peak of their flight, they just slowly glide down. And because it's only powered on the one side, it kind of flings it to the left slightly. So you could very easily point this thing to the left, to the right, make somebody think you've missed, and then just get out of the way, and it will just eventually curve around and get them. The curve is very gradual, I'll admit. Don't rely on that as a main tactic, because the curve is very gradual and is very easy to see coming. But overall, if you can find a Nitron for fairly cheap, even if you only get, even if you only get a 10 rounder with it, and you get 10 discs, 10 rounder, and this thing, you are gonna have fun. Because, excuse me, the Nitron is arguably the best thing to come out of the Vortex line. And Vortex is a line that is very interesting to me. The idea of mag-fed. This is very annoying. The idea of a mag-fed disc launcher is something that has rarely been done since. This is something that Hasbro has never come back to, as far as I'm aware. Hasbro, if you even remotely listen to any of your customers, which I know you don't because you're an American corporation that doesn't give a fuck about the people, but that doesn't give a fuck about the opinions of the people, more the opinions of the shareholders that you make money from. People my age will remember this if they had one. I'm trying to find a date on this beast and I can't seem to find it. There it is. What is that? That is very small. Right, that's 2010. So I was a kid when this thing came out. I was tiny. I would have loved this. And if you, Hasbro, if you bring Vortex back, you will not only usher in a new generation of not just vortexes, because there are a lot of people on this planet that are still to this day vortexes. Not only will you bring them back, you'll also be bringing new memories. Because with things like this, it's blasters like these, the core things that people remember, and you know, the ammunition that's easily replenished because it's a disc, or that was easily replenished back in the 2000s and back in the early 2010s. Vortex is a line that I never got my hands on until now, and I am so pissed with myself that I waited as long as I have. Now, I've just checked the runtime. I've been blabbering for nearly 45 minutes. Vortex is a part of Hasbro history that people forget about. And then when they're reminded, it's like, oh cool, shame it went away. They're going to bring it, hopefully they'll bring it back at some point. But they're probably not going to, because these things take actual effort to build and engineer and all come up with and all that kind of thing. Hasbro clearly doesn't have that right now because they're releasing the same fucking 2-shot smart AR system and the same 6-shot revolver, just with either a pump action or a bolt or a direct pullback. And they seem to just be doing that. Just reskins of internals. This reminds me of a time where when something new came out, it was new. You know, yes, the basic concept was the same. You pull a spring back, and then you pull the trigger, and the thing in front of it goes boom. But stuff like this is unique, and very few things have come out since that are this interesting and this cool and are designed in this manner. I have been rambling for a very long time. As of recording this, being, I believe, March 28th, it being Mother's Day in 2 days. Yep, so yeah, March 28th. I currently don't have anything else coming in as day of recording, but this video will more than likely go up either the same day as I'm filming this or the day after. More than likely the same day, but I genuinely forget about some of the things that I've filmed sometimes, and it's really annoying, and I'm trying not to do it, but you know. Anyway, Vortex, It's good. Vortex is good. Also, that Rayven is fucking amazing. Obviously, as I said in the first half of the video. This is going to be a long one, I'll admit. I've rambled a fair bit. So if you guys have sat through this, thank you. Thank you for, you know, listening to me ramble about toys from like 10 years ago. So yeah. 2025 is going to be an interesting year for this channel, as I kept saying. Hopefully I can get my hands on a Percy's. I know I talked about getting a Prometheus, but I'd have to import that, and that's very expensive, and the Percy's within itself is very expensive. But you know, oh shit. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of when I next upload, because it's gonna, I don't know the frequency anymore of these videos. But you know, if you're a nerfer or any kind of enthusiast like that, then just join me as I ramble through 50-minute videos talking about like 6 guns. Yeah. Anyway, 2025 is going to be a year for this channel. I'm hoping to genuinely get some Lego video filmed at some point, because if you know me personally, you know that I'm also a Lego enthusiast, which you can kind of see in the background shot. You know, I've got the little architecture sets, and I've also got some. In fact, I'll just give you a sneak peek. So, I got some Speed Champions stuff over there, getting for now, and then the Lego Simba, the little smaller little Lego Simba, and a couple of the architecture things. I'll do a full video on them eventually. I'm just trying to get my hands on a couple more of those little architecture skylines. Just a couple that I want. Either way, I'm going to end this video here because I'm rambling again, and I will see you all in the next one.